Have you ever finished a meal in a restaurant, just staring at the tip line at the bottom of your seat and wondered, are the servers depending on me just to make a fair wage today? Why am I even doing math at the end of a meal that should be relaxing? And why, if I'm living in America, a first world country, are businesses still trying to use us, the customer, to create fair wages for the servers instead of themselves? Obviously, America's tipping culture has a problem. It's unfair, unstable, and outdated. Placing the burden of fair pay onto the customer instead of the business, it allows for further discrimination against people of color and women. Today, I want to talk about three main points why we should begin to think of moving away from tipping culture as a whole. How it allows for businesses to use tipping as a loophole to underpay workers, creates financial insecurity due to unfair wages, and third, it allows for discrimination to be a tool to be used against women and people of color. First, to really get to the root cause of this issue, we must acknowledge that tipping culture has been used as a loophole by businesses to avoid paying their workers fair wages. In a 2025 report from the US Department of Labor, it is totally reasonable for a worker to be paid as little as $2.13 for tips. This is way below the federal minimum wage of $7.25 and leaves workers working long, hard hours and reliant on luck rather than a fair wage for their occupation. Second, tipping creates unpredictable incomes, which leads to financial insecurity. Factors such as mood, weather, time of day directly impact a customer's tip amount to the worker. Entirely unpredictable. And the reality for service workers is a daily, constant struggle to pay for basic necessities such as housing, healthcare, and nutrition. While it is true that tipping has a certain benefit of allowing the customer to reward the worker based on quality of service, more often than not, it is the risk that outweighs the rewards. And in fact, the Economic Policy Institute reports that over 50% of tipped workers earn underneath the poverty line when it comes to their combined wage and tip. Simply put, a system in which a worker's socioeconomic status is dictated by unpredictable circumstances is not sustainable in the long run. Third, tipping perpetuates gender and racial discrimination against America's workforce. Studies constantly reveal that women and people of color receive lower in terms of tips compared to their male or white counterparts. According to the National Women's Center of Law, a 2023 research paper showed that women, specifically women of color, earn less than $2,000 compared to their male counterparts. Additionally, Hispanic and Black women constantly earn less in tips compared to their white counterparts. This is further exacerbated by the fact that tipping is a representation of quality of service from the customer. However, in this way, it could be used as a tool of discrimination where either unconscious or conscious bias can come into play and influence the livelihood of many Black and Hispanic women in the service industry. Instead of promoting equality, tipping has seemed to reinforce inequality and allowing discrimination to be a tool used through the medium of tipping. Without a doubt, the tipping culture in America isn't ideal. It isn't a generous system it has claimed to be. It is a flawed system that takes advantage of workers and discriminates against women and people of color. No person should have to be fearful of poor weather. No person should have to be reliant on the generosity of others just to sleep under a roof at night. And no person should have to take a gamble in determining whether their hard work is enough for the next meal. Fair wages should be a guarantee, not just some flip of the coin. It is and has been time to rethink the way that we approach and treat our service workers by fighting for a system that prioritizes workers what they deserve to be paid, not what the customers determine.